tell them that the mainstream media didn't even cover it.
Some serious breaking news from the world of golf.
We are focusing on saving you some money.
Yes, the first lightning deals for Amazon Prime Day. They arrived overnight.
They buried the story. Putin and China saw it happening. They watched as the United States shot itself in the foot. And at the same time, they signed new deals to become the dominant superpower team in the world. You'll be able to tell your kids that the clearest sign of collapse emerged when most Americans were celebrating the 4th of July holiday, buried in hot dogs and hamburgers and fireworks, blissfully unaware that, back in Washington, D.C., President Biden sent out the warning that he was actively preparing thousands of U.S. troops to be sent to Europe. Yeah, because we're at war with Russia, whether or not they want to admit it or not. They won't call it a war. They'll just send Americans to die in Ukraine. But that wasn't even the worst news, because while you were eating hot dogs, they were putting numbers together over at the CBO. Now, the kids call it the Congressional Budget Office. Numbers that were frankly earth-shattering. They didn't want to release these numbers to the public because, it would be an admission that America was finished as the global leader. So they waited, and they released it on a Friday during July when no one's paying attention at all. But we were, and the numbers weren't even on page 1 of their report. No, it wasn't. Page 1 was bad enough. Page 1 of the report actually showed how the U.S. government spending soared 15% higher this year over last year, and the amount of tax revenue it brought in dropped by 9%. I'm no math genius, but that seems bad. Spending up 15% while the amount of money coming in dropped 9%. I don't need a calculator to realize that's bad. Just look at my hands. One is higher than the other. Turns out that the hundreds of billions of dollars going to Ukraine was a huge increase in spending over last year. But no, that wasn't the earth-shattering story. The real story was buried on page 8. Here it is, highlighted in red. And what it showed made your jaw hit the floor. You did a double take when you saw that the United States has already accumulated a record $652 billion in gross debt interest in 2023. What does that mean? Meaning only the interest part of our U.S. debt payment is $652 billion. And then, because you're a smart person and you looked at the projections and realized, holy shit, the report predicts the interest payments on our national debt will pass $1 trillion this year. What? Your kids are going to say, Daddy, what does that mean? And you'll explain how the U.S. is in such a catastrophic deep hole that we will have to pay $1 trillion in interest payments just to stay in that deep hole.